finishers, Nick D. Balistreri and Lawrence Wallace. The judges, Richard F. Murray, Frank Cairo, and Milo Savage. And is sanctioned by United States Boxing Association, the Honorable Robert E. Lee, President, and the lovely Marion Muhammad, the supervisor in charge. Counting for the knockdown seconds, alternate referee Paul Venti. The timekeeper to bell is Roosevelt Gilbert. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of the scheduled 12-round USBA Bantamweight Championship, referee Joe Cortez. And now, my good friends, introducing the principals. First, in the red corner, wearing the red trunks with the white trim. He tipped in at an even 117 pounds. This gentleman has 13 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw with 6 knockouts. He is ranked number 1 by the United States Boxing Association and number 4 by the International Boxing Federation. From our nation's capital of Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen, here is Louis Heidi Curtis. Curtis. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with the white trim. He weighed in at an even 118 pounds. This gentleman has 38 wins, 4 losses with 29 knockouts. He is the former United States Boxing Association, the World Boxing Association, and the Texas State Bantamweight Champion. He is ranked number 3 by the United States Boxing Association and number 7 by the International Boxing Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, a native of Laredo, Texas, and now fighting out of Houston, Texas, here is Gaby Canizales. Canizales.
All right, gentlemen, the rules will give to you both in the dressing room. I want a good, clean fight and protect yourselves at all times. Any questions? All right, shake hands. Good luck to both of you.
Well, we're done with the preliminaries. I'm sure, Murray, that our audience around the country could pick up the obvious partisanship for Louis Curtis. He's got a contingent of a couple of hundred people who've come up here from Washington, D.C. They follow him virtually everywhere. Canizales appears to be the villain tonight. There's the tail of the tape. Curtis older. Canizales has been a pro, oddly enough, 4 years longer than has Curtis. 117 pounds for Louis, 118 for Gaby, and we're underway. Glad to have you with us around the country on Friday Night Ringside. We're live at Resorts International. Canizales isn't a dead ringer for Roberto Duran. I've never seen one. Even got the week-old growth of beard and the stubble and the whole thing, huh?
Sam, that's an intimidation process, I think, that a lot of fighters go through. One thing I noticed about Heidi, in the pre-fight introductions, he is definitely not lacking in confidence. He is pumped up for this one, as he told us in the pre-fight interview.
And if you're wondering what the letters MPAC stand for around his waist, that's the Monumental Productions Athletic Club. Is that a little bit like Jim McMahon of the Chicago Bears wearing a headband with a commercial sponsor on it or something? Well, the one thing about this fight is that neither fighter will have to go very far to find each other. Curtis will be right in front of Canizales all night long. And Gaby's not been known to run very often either, although he may have a little more lateral movement than does Heidi Curtis. But they will be right there for each other. It'll be survival of the fittest tonight if this fight turns out to be as we expect it to be.
One of the punches that our viewers should watch for with Canizales is a beautiful left hook to the body. He threw it very, very effectively against Sandoval, and in turn stopped him in the 7th round. Let's see if he utilizes that the same way tonight.
For all intents and purposes, these two fighters are coming into this bout from opposite directions. Canizales on the build back up the mountain again after losing to Bernardo Pindango, the WBC title that he had won from Sandoval under a minute to go in round 1. He's won 5 of his last 6 fights. Canizales on the way back. This is the first fight for Curtis since he lost to Kelvin Seabrooks in the USBA Bantamweight title, the one he's fighting for tonight. That was back in March of this year. So he hasn't fought in some time. Canizales has been busy every 6 to 7 weeks, so there's certainly a divergence in what the two have been doing now over the last 6 to 8 months. Again, if you've just joined us, that is Louis Curtis in the red trunks and Gaby Canizales in the black. Nearing the end of round number 1. Scheduled for 12 tonight. Good to have you with us from Resorts. We'll return live after we take this time out for a commercial message. We'll be right back. We're back live at Resorts. Round number 2, scheduled for 12 in Canizales now. The feeling out process has been completed, Murray.
Yeah, and I think after the first round, I was glancing over the blue corner to Canizales' corner. Jesse Reed, one of the all-time veteran cornermen, was giving some excellent advice to Gaby. I couldn't pick up exactly what he said, but having a guy like that in your corner is such a plus to you.
We've had Jesse Reed in a number of our Friday night ringside exhibitions. He, of course, is a trainer for Frank Tate, who's just an outstanding middleweight fighter.
Canizales' hand speed is just blurring me. He has such a beautiful left hook. It's just unbelievable.
Oddly enough, it's a quality that Louis Curtis is known for. Curtis has got the good legs, excellent hand speed, but maybe better than anything else, he's got that outstanding chin. And he almost has to have one because he's right there in front of his opponent.
Yeah, he doesn't have too much movement.
Needless to say, the pace has picked up considerably here in round number 2. The USBA bantamweight title on the line tonight, and more importantly, perhaps to these two fighters, is the winner gets a crack at the IBF champion Kelvin Seabrooks. Something quite significant for Curtis because he's coming off a loss to Seabrooks and would dearly love to have the opportunity for a rematch. Alerting our local stations, we'll be taking a break locally at the end of round number 2.
That left hook to the body, I've said it 2-3 times, I can't stop saying it. Canizales is connecting so perfectly with that left hook to the body. If this fight goes 10, 11 rounds or the full distance of 12, Curtis is going to start hurting. He's going to have to start doing some body work of his own, as he predicted he would do in the pre-fight interview.
Under a minute to go in round number 2, scheduled for 12 tonight. Another excellent crowd here in the main ballroom at Resorts. Although why shouldn't there be? There's a great attraction tonight. Canizales is a kind of fighter who seems to fight to the level of his competition. He has looked, and a quick warning from Joe Cortez, the referee, he has looked not real sharp against some lesser opponents and has looked extremely good against quality opponents.
I think it was just like last month we were talking about motivation, Sam. You've got to have that motivation. You've got to have the feeling that you're going in there, you're going to have to do your best. If you take an opponent lightly, you train like that.
We'll return to Resorts after we take time out for this commercial message from your local station. Stay with us. Canizales between rounds.
Get him dropped. When he starts dropping, then you come over the top, all right? But short, not wide, all right? And I want you to stay busy.
Well, let's see if he follows the message. We're into round number 3, live again from Resorts.
Yeah, Reed's noticing that those left hooks are going in good to the body. He wants them to capitalize on that.
And no, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't forgotten about Murray's scorecard. There it is. We may not show it to you as frequently as we have in the past, but through 2 rounds, Canizales having won the first 2.
Both on purely aggression.
Murray was talking about motivation back in round number 2. Fascinating story of motivation here between these two. In 85 and 86, and particularly after Canizales won the title from Sandoval, Louis Curtis had the name Gaby Canizales over his bed, and he said he put it there to motivate him every morning to get out of bed and do his running, because this was one of his heroes. This was one man that he wanted to meet someday, and lo and behold, here they are in the ring together. So, oddly enough, Canizales has been the motivational inspiration for Curtis to do his road work, do his training, be diligent, be disciplined. And here they are meeting in November of 1987. We will remain here between rounds 3 and 4. We'll go back to the corner and we'll be able to hear live what's going on there. Minute and a half to go in the round. Go in the third round. We told you they wouldn't have to go very far to find each other. They have been right there all night and presumably will be to the end of this one. Can't get over the incredible resemblance of Canizales to Duran. 30 seconds to go in the round. And same kind of busy arms and shoulder movement, too, that Duran had. Always popping the gloves. Wild right by Canizales. Curtis has done some nice work in this round on the inside, Murray.
Curtis has connected well with good jabs and good right hands here, son.
Good round. Good round. Okay, let's stay here now. Go back to the corner of Louis Curtis and his trainer, John Sneed.
Listen, baby, let me tell you something. You're missing two men in with the hook to the chin. Go to the belly with the hook when you get close. You're missing two men to the chin. You understand? You're throwing the hook, you're throwing your hook, and you're wasting energy because you're missing. Anytime you hit the right hand, put the hook to the belly behind. You understand? You're wasting.
Now the other side quickly, Gaby Canizales and Jesse Reed, the veteran trainer.
You're doing all right, but you gave away that round. Don't give away any rounds. Stay busy with your hands. Even using your jab, hit him on the arms, anywhere. Just keep hitting him, okay? Don't have to be hard shots. Set up them hard shots. You got the timing, but you're just trying to load up too much, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get 4.
Interesting, Murray, that Reed has already conceded that round. He felt that Gaby gave it away.
He did, actually. He gave it away and with Lewis's jabs.
The bell in round number 4, scheduled for 12 tonight from Resorts. Good to have you with us. With Murray Sutherland, Sam Nover, and you can see that exactly as Jesse Reed said on Murray's scorecard, Curtis has won his first round of the night.
Yeah, Reed wants Canizales to become a little bit more busy. Don't wait as long, even though, as he said, hit him on the arms. Just throw punches.
Curtis 13-1-1 as a pro with 6 knockouts. But he was a very, very busy amateur fighter, winning 135, losing 8. As I mentioned, was a member of the 1976 Olympic team. The great team that the Americans sent to the Olympics. Howard Davis, Michael and Leon Spink, Sugar Ray Leonard. Unfortunately, Louis was one of the very few losers. He was eliminated in the very first round of that competition. He stayed around, as Murray mentioned, at the outset of our broadcast tonight, hoping to get a crack again in 1980, only to have us boycott that Olympic Games. We'll take a local break here at the end of round 4 with our local station.
Some good shot punches there by Canizales. He's connecting good with his right hand and he's putting his left foot behind it.
Well, he's landed with both hands.
Canizales seems to have a little nick above his right eye, Sam.
Gaby may be cut, but it's certainly Curtis who's taking the punishment here with both hands. Canizales has landed and landed often in this round. A triple left hook by Canizales. And a lot of power in his punches. He seems to be punching considerably harder than Curtis is. And the chance you hear is for Louis Curtis. Good right hand, a minute to go in the round. Curtis responds with a good right. This will be a raucous crowd all night. And again, Curtis with a good right hand. And that eye is starting to bleed now.
That eye does not look good.
It's Canizales who's cut.
Good right hand there by Heidi.
Under 30 seconds to go in the round. Another good right hand. Just another exceptional round of boxing. We'll return to Resorts International after this message from your local stations.
And stop the flow of blood.
The location of that cut dangerous or not?
Yes, it's extremely dangerous, Sam. It's right underneath the eyebrow, inside the eyelids, which could force the doctor to stop it due to detached retinas, etc.
And you can bet that Curtis will go after that the rest of the night.
I would imagine he's going to be using his jab an awful lot more, because that's the punch that opened up the cut.
Whether or not the cut will take some of the aggressiveness away from Canizales. We should point out, I was mentioning that Canizales is on the climb back up the mountain again, having won 5 of his last 6 fights after losing to Pindango. That only loss was because of a cut over the eye. In Tijuana, losing to Raul Perez back in July of this year, and they had to stop the fight, so he's lost fights because of cuts over the eye before.
Actually, this might be a reoccurrence of that cut, Sam.
What's the tendency when that happens, when it first becomes a problem for him, Murray, to go into a shell, to fight more defensively?
I think it does 2 things, Sam. To some fighters, it makes them go into a shell. To other fighters, it makes them more desperate. They realize that they've got an injury. They're only into the 5th round of the fight, of a 12-round fight, and it may make them a little bit more aggressive, trying to end it early, just in case the referee jumps in and stops it.
Canizales does not appear to be demonstrating any desperation here.
No, I don't think so. He's, as I stated before the fight, he is a seasoned veteran. He's been cut before. This to him is just one of the hazards of the trade, so to speak. Curtis is connecting extremely well with his right hand.
And the best thing that can be said about him using his right hand is that it keeps it away from the cut. The jab is in line for the cut.
The jab is the one that's going to do damage to the cut. Jabs and left hook.
Under a minute to go in the round. And a pretty big round for Curtis. Yeah, Louis has waited a long time for this fight. Very strange circumstances surrounding his loss to Seabrooks for the bantamweight title. Under 30 seconds to go. He knocked Seabrooks down twice, but in the 7th round, they stopped the fight for 17 minutes because of a cut glove. Seabrooks had, of course, Curtis claims it was slashed by one of his cornermen, thus taking all the sting out of the aggressiveness of Curtis. And by the time they resumed fighting again, Louis was cold. Never got back into the swing of the fight and lost it on a decision.
This is the left jab thrown by Curtis. It seems to be working pretty well on that bad cut eye of Canizales.
And we're back live at Resorts International, round number 6 with Murray Sutherland, Sam Milford. Glad to have you with us on our Friday Night Ringside Network around the country. 12-round USBA Bantamweight Championship on the line tonight. Should say scheduled for 12. I sometimes wonder if we'll get there. Take a look at Murray Sutherland's scorecard now. Through 6 rounds. Through 5 rounds, I beg your pardon. There's the first 4, now the 5th, and a very slight 1-point advantage for Mr. Curtis. Louis Curtis is 29 years old, yet turned pro 4 years after Canizales. You mentioned he spent all that time waiting for the Olympic Games. It kind of lost interest in the sport of boxing. Kind of drifted away for a couple of years after the boycott of the 1980 Olympic Games. Good right hand. Didn't have a lot of power behind it, but he landed it nonetheless. Louis Curtis.
You know, earlier, Sam, you stated how much Canizales resembles Roberto Duran, and you don't know how accurate you were in that statement. If you watch Canizales, when he sees the punch coming, he does the exact same thing as Duran does. He moves with the punch. It makes you think, or it makes his opponent think he's landed flush, but in fact, he's moving with the punch and taking all the effect away from it. He is the only other fighter I've seen doing that successfully is Duran.
Interesting. We'll break with all of our local stations along the network after round 6, so stay with us. A local break upcoming. 1 minute to go in the round. Good combination by Canizales.
Good,
real good combination. And a right and a left to the body again as he dug the left to the body after coming up high on Curtis. Get the feeling that Gaby, after a couple of rounds of getting used to the cut now, starting to come back a little. Good right hands by Curtis. What an excellent fight tonight. 30 seconds to go.
Oh.
A three-punch combination by Louis Curtis.
They don't have to go too far to look for each other, Sam. They're just trading blow for blow.
Haven't seen anybody take a back step yet, have you? Hope you're enjoying this one. Friday Night Ringside will return after this break from your local stations.
Every face a story.
With Murray Sutherland, Sam Nover back at Resorts International live as we enter round number 7. In the black trunks, Gaby Canizales, born in Laredo, Texas, 27 years old. In the red trunks, Louis Curtis, 29, out of Washington, D.C. At stake tonight, the USBA bantamweight championship, scheduled for 12. This is the 7th. And almost dead even. And again, it was round 3 that Canizales had a cut opened over his right eye. And they've been nursing that every round and doing a fairly good job on it, Murray.
Excellent job, Sam. After that fast-paced 6th round, I think both of them are taking a little breather here. A well-deserved breather, might I add.
A respite before the home stretch. The feeling from you, as we talked about this fight earlier today, was that if this fight got into the later rounds, you thought that Canizales would have the advantage. Why?
I think purely on experience. Canizales is the type of fighter that went 15 rounds on 2 occasions. He's went 12 rounds on a couple of occasions. He is a more, I'd say, seasoned veteran. And in a long fight, that would seem to favor him. But the way that Louis Curtis is looking at this stage, he is in for the long stretch also.
Minute and a half to go in round number 7. And again, a local break here at the end of round 7, a local break. As he does almost every time we see him on Friday Night Ringside, Joe Cortez doing another outstanding job as the 3rd man in the ring. Just simply conspicuous by his absence. He just, does his job.
He doesn't have to work too hard in this. I don't think he's working those fighters at once in the whole 6 rounds we've seen fight.
And again, if you're wondering, and a lot of people may be curious about the fact that the referee has plastic gloves on, that has been instituted here in the state of New Jersey and in many states around the country because of the concern over the AIDS epidemic, the AIDS virus, I should say. And because there is so much bleeding in the ring, the handlers and the officials in the ring wear plastic gloves.
And the boxers wear leather gloves.
I hope I wasn't being funny by calling it an epidemic AIDS. Terrible thing. Under 30 seconds to go. We're going to get through round number 7. We will see you round 8 here. Resorts International main ballroom is where we are tonight, and we'll return after this message from your local stations.
I really don't know what to say. You're the first in this family to get into college.
And we're so proud of you.
I can't go, can I? Your mother and I have been over this a million times. her work, my extra job. I just can't afford to send you.
I didn't mean to let you down.
I understand. Maybe next year. Maybe.
We cannot continue to deny bright, hard-working students the opportunity of going to college simply because they lack the funds. Please, support the United Negro College Fund and help keep tuition costs down and the dream alive.
Jimmy?
Yeah?
Will this help?
The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
This is action from the 7th round here. Look at Curtis working those punches.
And we're back live now, round number 8. We should mention, too, something you may not be familiar with, because this is a vacant title. If this should be a draw at the end of the regulation 12 rounds, the fighters will be instructed to keep their gloves on, and they will fight a 13th round. In other words, sudden death boxing tonight if it's a draw at the end of 12. Let's take a look at your scorecard here, Murray. And round number 7 you gave to Curtis, and now he has opened up a 2-point advantage. And he hasn't had that since the second round when he won the first 2. On your card, right?
No, I've got...
I'm sorry, Canizales led by 2. That's the widest margin anybody's
This is the
had.
widest margin, yeah.
First time that Curtis has been to a 2-point lead. Oh, good round for Canizales with the right hand and digging hard with the left to the body again.
Canizales, in my opinion, seems to be waiting just a little bit too long. He's waiting on a big punch, so to speak, and he should be throwing a little bit more punches, a little bit more combinations, rather than just trying to load up. This may be his downfall.
Canizales outthrowing the Curtis in punches this round, maybe 4 or 5 to 1. Really working this round. The lateral movement of Curtis, or the lack of same, is probably one of the detriments to his game. He doesn't have not a lot of movement there in his body. He's right there in front all the time.
He's plodding forward. It looks like he's got his back foot inside a pail. He just takes one step forward and drags that back foot in. Very little side-to-side movement. In fact, I was under the impression he moved a little bit more than this.
Under a minute to go in round 8, scheduled for 12 or maybe 13. Should we have a draw at the end of regulation?
Canizales is again connecting with those good left hooks.
Asserting himself again here in round 8 as he did earlier in the fight. You can hear those body shots.
Oh, yeah. It's taking the toll. It must be.
When Gaby came back to his corner at the end of round number 2, Jesse Reed said to him, he is hurting from those body shots. Then after the cut eye in round 3, Gaby kind of got away from it again. He's gone back to it in round number 8. We'll be back for a round number 9 after this commercial message. Stay with us. We're live at Resorts.
You can hear the understandable pride when modern brewers...
We are live, and this is round number 9, Atlantic City, New Jersey, on Friday night ringside at Resorts International. A 12-round USBA bantamweight championship fight that is Gaby Canizales in the black, Louis Curtis in the red. Canizales, previous holder of the WBC bantamweight championship, won it from Richard Sandoval, lost it to Bernardo Pindango. A very seasoned fighter, 38-4 with 29 knockouts. On the other hand, Louis Curtis coming off a loss for the USBA bantamweight title to Kelvin C. Brooks back in March of this year. Was an amateur fighter of note, great prestige, a member of the 1976 U.S. Olympic boxing team. Did not turn professional till 1983. And this is the fight of his life.
And he's in it, son.
has held up pretty well, has it not, Murray?
Absolutely. Like I stated earlier, Jesse Reed is probably one of the best cutmen in the business today. Oh, a beautiful right hand there by Canizales. Beautiful. Connected.
Oh, and he
Flush
hit
on
him
the jaw.
again, and he hit him again. Curtis has taken 4 shots. Looping overhand rights. He's got to be hurt.
We know that Curtis has got a good, solid chin. It was told to us earlier, and we know this from past experience, that those were some terrific punches.
4 overhand rights by Canizales, everyone landing. But look at Louis come back. And again, the chance for Heidi Curtis. Heidi. 1 minute to go in round number 9. One of the best fights we have ever had on Friday Night Ringside.
You know, Sam, a lot of the heavier weight divisions, like the middleweights on up to the heavyweights, get all the notoriety. But you watch a good bantamweight, junior, middle, lightweight fight, and you see more action in one of those fights than 10 of the heavyweights.
And you asked, speaking of weights, Murray, you asked Louis Curtis why he waited so long to turn pro other than his desire to fight on the Olympic team. He said, I couldn't put on enough weight to get any bigger.
That's
and
right.
Nobody wants to fight you professionally at 110 or 112 pounds.
That's correct.
It took him forever to get up to 117. We'll stay here between rounds, by the way. We will stay right here in Atlantic City. Good round for Gaby. This crowd has just roared at the bell at the end of every round, and they will again. Let's go back now with Heidi Curtis, and again his trainer John Sneed. Through 9 rounds.
Left hand. Let me tell you something. This guy is tired too, Heidi. This guy is tired too. But you're forgetting about your left hand, baby. You're forgetting about your left hand. Dig it when you get close. You playing with this guy. You understand? Dig it.
No left hand from Curtis. Let's see what the problem with Canizales is.
Real fine. Swallow it. Gaby, you're beautiful to the head. As soon as you chop at the head, bring that shot right up the lane. All right, and then pivot on him and come right back on him again. I want 4 shots at a time. They don't have to be hard shots.
This is where Gaby catches him beautifully with those right hands when he had him against the rope.
4 looping right hands. The bell in round 10. We're live again. Canizales in the black, Curtis in the red. It has to be everything they would have wanted from each other.
I got the impression, listening between rounds, that Louis Curtis's corner was getting a little bit complaints from him, saying he's tired. His cornerman was saying, we know you're tired, but the other guy's tired also.
Indeed. Let's take a look at Murray's scorecard. Through 9, dead even. Gave the last round to Canizales. Has given no round with any wider margin than 10-9. Have you, Murray? I don't believe.
No, absolutely not. In fact, I gave the last 2 rounds to Canizales based on the extraordinary good right handers this round.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I know one guy in this room who won't bet against your scoring, and that's me. You and I have worked together too often, and you've been dead right too often.
Well.
Within a point or two of the final verdict, you've been uncanny. And then my other partner, Mr. Mancini's done very well, too, over the past year or so in scoring these fights. So I won't argue with either one of you.
I think that we have what we call inside information.
Yeah, I guess having spent a few years in the ring, you get a pretty good idea what it takes to win one of these things. And both of you have won belts, Murray, and I guess that's the most coveted quality of all. I think it would be fair to say, correct me if I'm wrong, that Curtis goes about his work in very unspectacular style.
He is.
He's not, no flair, no glamour. Canizales, on the other hand, with that Duran look and the style and a little bit more movement, is a little bit more glamorous in his approach.
I'm not going to correct you. You're wrong. Yeah.
If you believe it,
no.
say it.
Just joking, Sam. No, you're absolutely right. Louis Curtis is he's just there. He's in there to do one particular thing, and that's try and win. And no flash, no glory.
Blue-collar fighter if I've ever seen one. We'll take a local break here in 1 minute from now. Honestly, Murray and I really didn't give this fight much of a chance of getting through 10. We will see an 11th round in about, we can go another 45 seconds here. Has Canizales done it this time, as Jesse Reed wanted him to do? Those 4 pops with the right hand.
He's been doing pretty good here, Sam. I think right now is where his ring experience is going to take over. If he's in as good a shape as Curtis, then right now your experience is taking the end.
Well, this is where you thought he'd kick in the second gear.
I said from the 9th round on, I think he was going to dominate the fight.
Good combination by Gaby. On another one, too. He's had another good round. We'll return to Resorts after this message from your local stations.
Introducing the 88 Dodge. Wait a minute, 87.
Round 11. Canizales delayed in his corner momentarily. Referee Joe Cortez brings them together, and here we go. 6 more minutes of boxing. If we get through it, for the USBA bantamweight title. Gaby Canizales in the black trunks for the white band. Louis Curtis, or Heidi Curtis as his friends refer to him, in the red trunks. Fighting out of Washington, D.C. Has developed a great following over his amateur years. Member of the 1975 Pan Am team, preceding the Olympic team of 76. You know, we talked a lot, Murray, about the fact that Curtis lost the decision to Kelvin Seabrooks back in March for the title. Canizales fought Seabrooks back in 1984 and beat him. But I'm sure it was a different Seabrooks that he fought at the time.
I think so, yeah. I think they would both like a shot at him now, they're saying.
One of them will get it. Based on this fight, I would think they both deserve it.
I would think so. It's one of these fights that you don't have any losers. You only have a winner.
Oh, good right hand by Lewis.
Actually, Sam, if you could see those punches in slow motion, you'd see that Canizales has got the uncanny reaction time. He pulls away from these punches. If we could catch one in slow motion, it would show you that.
So he's really lessened the impact.
Oh, yeah, he pulls away from them.
Over the course of a night, that can mean a depreciation and sizable punishment, can't it?
Absolutely.
But they look good to the judges, Murray.
They do, and they look good to the crowd. The crowd reacts to them, especially the partisan crowd who have here behind Curtis.
1 minute to go in the 11th round. That cut over the right eye of Gaby Canizales has held up very well tonight.
Yeah, but really hasn't posed any threat to him.
Almost a headbutt. Boy, they almost collided there.
Oh, they are colliding.
Yeah, I thought I saw it, and I wasn't quite sure. It looked like an almost.
In fact, Gaby Canizales has a bad red mark in between his eyes, which couldn't have been caused by one of those headbutts.
Boy, they are close quarters. 30 seconds to go in the round. Curtis just laying the left hand out and delivering the right. Taking a couple of punches in return. Under 10 seconds to go in the 11th round. We've got 3 minutes to go. We'll return to Resorts after this commercial message. Don't go away.
Right here, Sam, this is shades of Roberto Duran. Watch this. See how he pulls away from that punch. The judges, the crowd think it's a punch, and he reacts to it just in time.
You recognized that early on, too. Now the Heidi noise gets louder. We're in the final round, perhaps the final round, unless they score this fight a draw. Then we will fight a 13th round. The scorecard, Canizales has squeaked ahead again by a point on Murray's scorecard.
I scored the last round even, Sam, and that brings it 106 to 105 Canizales.
But you did give the 10th round to Canizales.
I did,
By
yeah.
virtue of that 1 point, he leads now. Well, sit back and enjoy this one. This is going to be a round. Already they've exchanged some great punches. Curtis short-arming his left hook a little bit here in the 12th round.
Oh, good connection.
used so commonly in boxing, but this is legitimately a war.
This is a war.
2 minutes to go in the fight. Canizales in the black, former WBC bantamweight champion. Louis Curtis in the red, former member of the 1976 U.S. Olympic boxing team. And you got to give Canizales credit. He has been, in terms of partisanship from the crowd here tonight, he's been the underdog all night long. He's got a lone voice in the wilderness. That's his wife sitting in the second row, and that's it. And it seems like everybody else here is for Curtis. If ever a fight has stood up to its pre-fight billing, this is one. Yeah. And exactly what we expected has happened in terms of both fighters standing right in front of each other all night long.
This is the kind of fight that the crowds go home with a smile on their face.
Oh, straight right, and again a combination back by Curtis. Oh, they exchange straight right.
Oh,
Curtis buckled. Canizales buckled Curtis and hit him again with a right.
I'm sorry for jumping on you there, Sam, but I'm excited. Canizales connected, and Heidi come right back with another punch.
Straight right by Canizales again. Curtis has not stopped throwing punches through it all. It will go the distance. We all got to catch our breath after that one. An absolutely remarkable fight. We'll be back with the decision here at Resorts International. A standing ovation. We'll be back after this.
The human mind. It can investigate and solve, imagine and create, plan and perfect. The potential of the human mind is as limitless as space itself. And thanks to your generosity, the United Negro College Fund is turning this potential into reality.
Sam Nover and Murray Sutherland back here at ringside at Resorts International. There is Murray's final scorecard. He gave 11 and 12 rounds as draws, even up, and a one-point decision to Canizales, 116-115. And you can take a look now, 12th round action.
This is where Canizales stunned him so badly in the last round, Sam.
Surprised you didn't give that round to Canizales.
I
Murray.
was being very generous to Curtis. Both of them fought so gallantly that that was the decision I wanted to make.
Okay, let's see what the official decision is. Ed Darien standing by in the ring. Let's get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a majority decision. And the scoring by points as follows. Judge Frank Cairo observed the fight, 115-113. Judge Milo Savage observed it at 115-115. And Judge Richard F. Murray, he watched the fight at 117-112 for the winner by majority decision. And the brand new United States Boxing Association bantamweight champion, Gaby Canizales.
Canizales has won it.
And I help people review their life insurance.